as usual, I'm having a bit of trouble setting up again. I'm going to make a bit of a noise. Sorry, I didn't move my seat out before I hit the live button. So today, oh crappies, there's going to be traffic. Just trying to get you a bit straighter. As usual, doesn't want to stay. I've got a cup of coffee today. It's the afternoon. It's Wednesday afternoon. I've been out this morning. Just noticed there's a bit of a pull there. I might have to repair that. I didn't notice that before. So today I thought I'd do a bit of an update on my needle book. But first I wanted to show you a couple of things. So I'm just going to set that aside for a moment. And I wish this bloody traffic would sod off. What have I done with that? I've had that here. I must have already got it out. Ready to go. I did. So, those, if you're watching my last video, I had been gifted some beautiful vintage Irish linen hankies. And I went to see if I could crochet some the other night, but I didn't have any hooks small enough. I feel like I'm yelling at you because there's so much blinking traffic today. You don't have to yell, thank you. It's cool. Go and take a chill pill. Go and sit down, please. So the hook I had was too big. Now I do know that I've got at least one other tiny one. It's a mother of pearl one. And I only had it a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I even filmed it. And I remember saying at the time, I'm going to put this in here so I know where it is. I don't know where I've put it. So the last few days, I'm still sorting through some stuff. So I had a lot of boxes stored away at home with art supplies in, all sorts of art supplies, quilting supplies, painting, sewing, you name it. I've got stuff everywhere. It's time to thin it out, get rid of it. There's too much stuff here. I'm never going to use it all. So far I've taken away 15 boxes to storage. I've filled a garbage bin. I'm trying not to throw out. I'm trying to recycle as much as I can. I've got 8 boxes to go to be donated so far. But I'm still going. But anyway, going through that stuff, I found some of my crochet cottons, and I wanted to show you these little guys. I've only got these 3. These little DMC number 80. This is a pink and white. One of my hairs is wrapped up in that, of course. This one's a bit discoloured. It's a little bit aged. This is a beautiful, it might not be coming through. In the monitor it doesn't look as pretty as it does in real life. It's a pretty, I wouldn't say sage green, it's more it's not lime green, it's sort of halfway between sage and lime, almost like a leaf green, a nice yellowy leaf green and variegated. And this is a funny brown and yellow, this one. But I just wanted to show you those. I've never seen them in the small balls before. I've had these for a few years. And I've got all sorts of other ones. I've got, number 60 here. I've got other different colours. I've got quite a few different colours. A yellow, a green. This one's a bit thicker. I've got a blue variegated. I've got a lot that aren't variegated as well, but I like the variegated ones. So anyway, I've got a few of those. There's another pink one. I've got a big box full actually, a big crate full. So I was going to try and crochet some of these linen hankies, and as I was saying, the crochet hook I had was too big. There's a bit of fluff falling on that. So today I dropped in, excuse me, I'm thirsty. I dropped into my friend's shop to see if I could get a tiny little hook. Now, these hooks aren't let me put my glasses on. They're not in the greatest condition. They're not horrendous, but there were some that were a bit cleaner. They would have been newer. But I picked these two for a reason. This one, firstly, because it's got this engraved handle. I've never seen one like this before. It's got a little turned end on it. The end is turned, which I've not seen, and it's got like a little vine running up the handle here. It's a number 4, it's little flower buds at the top here. So it's a tiny little hanky one. It'll fit in the hanky, just what I needed. No, only just fit, crikey. So I got this one. It was $1.50. Now I've got it in there, I can't get it out. So I thought that was pretty with the little turned handle that won't focus. And then this one was a bit unusual again, and I've only just noticed this. I didn't notice this in the shop. This one has an engraving on it as well. So it's got little scrolls up the stem, up the handle here, all the way up on 1, 2, I think there's on 3 sides. No, there's something written on this side. It says patent number 445 something, I can't read it. This damn traffic today. So this is another fine one, but the reason I picked this one up, it's got the turned handle that I've not seen again, but if I go like this, oh, I didn't realise it did this either. I didn't see this earlier. So this turns in here, and then this end comes out, and there's a bigger one. So I thought that was really cool. And I thought it only had one extra one in the other end. So there you go. There's 2 in there. So I'm really happy with that. And I'm sorry, I'm waiting for that noise to finish. I'm not used to having neighbours next door on that side, so they've only moved in the last few days. There's been no one in there for 12 months. So I have shown this before. I got this a few weeks back from, I think I bought it from my friend's shop, but it does have in here, that's all tatting, but there is some crocheted edges in here. They're for doilies, the designs, but I thought they might, here you go, I thought they might be okay to do on the hankies, just some simple ones to get started until I get used to it, because it's super fine if you've ever done them before. I'm not entirely convinced my eyesight will hold out. So I've got the patterns, I've got the hooks, and I've got the linen, and I've got the cotton. So that's something I'd like to try and have a go at. Got a lot more of these hankies, so I've got plenty of that to keep me occupied. Then, when I was going through my boxes the other day, I found some more of my linen. This isn't linen, obviously. This is vintage French cotton. I had a few of these skeins. I've only got 2 or 3 left, because what I was doing, I was splitting these up into smaller hanks, into individual sizes like you'd buy in the shop, like a pearl 8, and I was hand painting them. So when I talked about the hand dyed or hand painted cottons that I have, this is what I was using. So I wanted to show you that. And then I've got, oh crikey, jeez Louise, sorry I knocked you guys again. I'm a bit stressed about that. The traffic, sorry. It's usually not this bad. And I don't know why today's a weekday, so it shouldn't be. This is another little tray cloth that I've had for some time that I'd forgotten about. Someone has already started to stitch it. It's quite chunky, so I'm inclined to, and you see here they've done the pink flowers and the green, but then on this end it's all blue. This looks like a Pearl 8 or a similar cotton. It's quite thick, this one. This is a DMC, but it hasn't been separated. So neither end matches. I'm not fussed on that, so I think I'll undo all that and redo it. I've got, these are ones I've collected for years, over the years. Some of them are quite marked. This is a cut work, like a little tray mat. So that's it, just this. It's very faint, the flowers on this one. I knew I had more, I just didn't know where they were, and I've probably even got more downstairs somewhere. I've got 2 rooms full of boxes of art stuff that I still need to sort through. So this is a little, this one's not unfinished. Oh my goodness, now there's more machinery. I haven't asked how you all are today. How are you today? Have you slept? Have you eaten? Are you well? I hope you're having a good day. It's the middle of the week. It's hump day here. This one, this is a little child's apron. It looks like calico to me, or maybe even feed sack. The top hasn't been stitched yet. This has been started. It's a bit rough. In some spots it's been pulled too tight, so it's puckered. So I'll probably undo this one as well. I'm not sure. There's a pocket here, little pocket to stitch on. So I've got that one. Oh, crikey noses. Why do people have to have the noisiest vehicles? Okay, here's another. This one I really like. There's a big watermark on this one, or some kind of stain. You can see right across there. So I don't know how that's happened, whether it's happened while it's been here or whether it happened before it was given to me. I know, like some of these I've had for years, and I know some of them were stained when they were gifted to me. But I love this one. Like a lotus. So that's down either end of that, and then there's a little one in the middle. So I'm hoping I can stitch that and soak it, and that will come up. Now I don't know if you've heard me say before, I'm very hesitant to soak them before I stitch them, because I did that once years ago, many years ago, and I washed all the stencil out. So I don't know, see there's something yucky on there. There's another stain there. That looks like, it almost looks like ink, pen, some sort. Then I've got this. This is a very fine Irish linen. It's a pretty design. Got the flowers. It's another cut work. You can see the bars here. These could potentially be eyelets or little satin stitch spots. Considering it's cut work, I'd be inclined to do eyelets, I think. I'm not sure. This end has been started, but again, it's quite, it's not really, I was going to say it's quite chunky, but it's not really. It has been, well, it's actually quite nicely done, this one. It's interesting though, there's a lot of staining in where that stitching is. But that one's quite nice. If I can match that thread, I might continue, leave that one and continue that one. Goodness knows when I'm going to get to all these. I'd like to. I'd really like to do them. Then I've got, oh, this traffic and the birds. I feel like throwing my arms up in the air and quitting for the day at this rate. This poor thing keeps falling down. Oh, crikey. Okay, stay. Stay. So this is another little doily, tray cloth, I said, not even a tray cloth, just a doily, but look at these holes in it. I don't know what's happened there. They're just, I don't think it's been cut because it's deteriorating. See that? If I do that, it just deteriorates. There's another one down here, so maybe it's almost like it's had acid spilled on it or something. But this is a pretty design. I'd be inclined to stitch this and use it as a cutter because it's got the holes in it. I mean, I could potentially patch them, but it is a very fine Irish linen. So I think I'd be more inclined to do the stitching and then use it as a cutter, I think. Then I won't feel as bad cutting it, especially if I do the stitching. So there's that one. Then I've got another apron. I've got a feeling a family member gave me this one. It's been that, I've had these for years, so this is another like sackcloth or seated homespun or something. Little child's apron, and it's got a little girl down here with an umbrella that's been turned inside out, and a little Scotty dog or West Highland Terrier down here. There's some flowers down here. Hasn't had the bias put on it yet. And then there's two pockets up here to attach. So none of the biases with this one, which is unusual. Most of the other ones I've come across have already had the bias stitched on. So that's another one. Then I've got this, oh crikey, we keep falling down again. Then I've got this little, look at that stain. I've got no idea what that could be. It's a little bit stiff. Don't know what that is. So there's someone walking past who's talking loudly, maybe they're on the phone. So I've got that one to stitch with some flowers. If this stain doesn't come out, which I've got a feeling it won't, it's quite dark, that would be another good cutter. So in theory I could stitch that and use that part as a pocket potentially. So there's that one. This one actually had the same pattern. I think I sent it to Kathleen maybe, I can't remember now. But this one's come up as well. Now this one I've had for a long time. Someone started this one as well. You can see this one's done in burgundy and pink. I think, look at those stitches on the back. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups now. Look how neat that is on the back. Isn't that unreal? I think the other one was done in a cream colour from memory. I'd have to go back through the videos, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same design. Beautiful quality linen, this one. It's a heavy linen. So I've got that one. I've had that one for years. This is one, this was my grandmother's, I remember this. This one's finished. The poor thing, I don't know why it's so scrunched up. It's a, look at that braid stitch in there for the ribbon. It's not the neatest work on the back. I don't believe my grandmother did this. She owned it. I think from memory her friend gave it to her many years ago. But these incredible bullion knot flowers on this. So this is an adult apron and it's a crinoline lady. There's some flowers down the bottom, all around the bottom here. Has some stains on it. There's no pocket, but it ties up. Does a ties up around the neck there, and I believe it somehow crisscrosses into the back here, but I'm not sure how because I can't find these. There's no other straps, so it must cross behind the neck and then catch the waist somewhere and then tie at the back, because that's how long those straps are. So that's how that one must work. Then I've got another little child's, goodness me, this rotten thing. Stay, please. Stay. Got another child's apron. This is obviously a pink one. It has been crocheted already. It hasn't quite been finished off yet. It has been, the stitching has been started. So it's a little bib. I've got the little bib here. I assume that potentially there'd be a button here. There's no buttonhole, so I'm not sure. But then that neck hole is very, very small, even for a child. There's a little spray of flowers here. And then we've got a little horse, which has been started. Oh, this rotten thing. Please stop falling down. And oh, I'm having a day of it today. Crikey. So we've got this horse. A couple of flowers here. This is a very pretty one. Obviously it's a toy horse of some kind. Has been started. Very heavy stitching on that one, but very neatly done. You can see on the back. So I've got that little one. Then I've got this. This is a piece of hand-dyed wool that I bought years ago, many, many years ago. I remember I had a purple one. I've used all that, and I had an orange. And these were bought, it would have been well over 20 years ago. It's pure wool, stocked as flannel. And we bought it to make flowers, and it may have even been a Jenny Rofe class that we were doing. But it was very expensive at the time. Someone had hand dyed it all. We bought it from the local quilt store. And yeah, I still have some of the green. It's beautiful, beautiful fibre. Oh man alive. I'm determined to keep knocking you guys today, aren't I? This is driving me bananas. Okay, then I've got, what's this one? This is a piece of linen. It must have been, obviously it's been torn off here. And I can't for the life of me remember if this was anything or if it was given to me like this. There's a lot of age spots on it. I can't remember. I can't see any embroidery on it anywhere, but I've got this lovely piece of vintage linen there. I found some more vintage hankies. What have we got? That was still stitched together actually. I just pulled that stitch out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. There's some dreadful age spots on some of them. They've been, look at that one. Oh, for crying out loud. If you can't tell, my ring light stand is broken. And I've been trying to make do because I haven't had the money to get a new one. And my phone is broken and everything is broken, and I've patched, everything's held together with tape. But anyway, look at there's some dreadful age marks on this one. But hopefully they're cute little size. I'm assuming they're hankies. I don't think they'd be big enough for napkins. They were stitched together like they would have been in the shops to be sold as handkerchiefs. They've still got sizing in them, but they've got lovely embroidery. These would be, I was going to say they're machine embroidered, but surely they'd have to be machine embroidered. They look like they're hand stitched. Don't know, but anyway, I found those that I've had for some time as well. All these things I'm showing you today I've had for years. They've just come up as I've been tidying up and sorting through. I've got another one of these, well, not another one, I don't have one the same as this, just a little tray cloth doily thingy. That's a machine embroidered one, that one. Pretty sure that's machine. I've got, what's this one? This is a pretty one. This would probably be a napkin because it's square. It's got a lot of staining on this one, but it's got this lovely, hopefully a lot of these will soak out. Haven't been having a lot of luck with the soaking. I've been soaking for 24 hours and hanging them out in the UV and then bring them in. They look great. And then a few days later, the stains seem to reappear again. So I don't know what I'm doing. This has a terrible amount of staining on it. But it's got this lovely, this is a napkin. I've got a few of these. These ones would have been separated because I was eco-dyeing a lot of these a couple of years ago with eucalyptus and tea tree. So that's why these would have been separated. But obviously I didn't do all these ones. I did do a heap. And the reason I picked those is because of the staining, because once you eco-dye them, you don't notice the staining anymore. This is another napkin, and I have dyed one of these. This fabric, I'm not sure what it is. I thought it was cotton, but even after a wash, it's still quite stiff, even after I wash the sizing out. But it tears, it's a bugger to tear. It's really hard to tear, but it gives this incredible hairy, fabulous effect for the journals I was doing. I've got more of these. I've got, I don't know, I must have close to 20 of these ones. And again, a lot of staining on this one. I had cut one of these up because it was torn, so I'd cut one of these up and I'd put some of the flowers on the needlebook actually that I'm doing. I've got another one of these. I say another one, none of them are the same. This has got bloody, that looks like highlighter. So I did dye some of my threads, my cotton thread, about 2 years ago. I dyed some with neon. So that looks like what that looks like what that is. Obviously I've gotten sloppy. Don't know if I'll be able to get that out. Another pink one. I just dropped a bit of fluff in my coffee. Another pink doily. And I'm not, see, look at the staining on this. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the crocheted ones for these needle books. I wanted to show you this. It's not linen, but I've had this for years. Years and years and years. I believe it was from my grandmother. She was a dressmaker. And look at that, I've got some cotton tangled on that. This is stranded cotton because there's two pieces together there. But I wanted to show you this because it's just a beautiful quality fringing. It would have to be, I would say, older than the 70s from the quality of it. Maybe 50s or 60s, maybe earlier. There is some age marks on it, but it's just It's very simple. It's just this twisted fringing. When you steam it, it's beautiful. It just all falls into place. But I wanted to show you that because you don't see that quality anymore. It's just a beautiful quality fringing. I did have it all wrapped around a piece of card. I need to do that again. That's a little purse I made ages ago. That's all hand. Those hexagons, paper pieced. I did paper piece all that years ago. Another one of these. Now these things at the moment, you can see this has already been cut up. It is stained. That looks like the right side. Big stain in here. But these things, if I separate these medallions, they make good pages for needlebooks or medallions for pin cushions or something. Got another one of these, which I've got a few of these napkins. This edging's useful. Of course, these needle turned appliques are useful. Here's that. This is from that other piece that we just had that's been cut off. Just another little terrible stains or age marks on this one. It's a cotton one. Whether it's useful in a needlebook, I'm not convinced. It's a bit heavy. Another one of these. I've got a few of these napkins. They're linen. This is part of a tablecloth that had already been cut up. Someone had cut the middle out of the whatever work was done in the middle here had been cut out and replaced with this dreadful synthetic lace. So it's covered in stains. It's lovely fabric, so that has been used. I've been using that over the years for different for journals. I've eco-dyed some, I've dyed some, I've painted some, I've done all sorts of things with it. Found this little piece of vintage fabric. There's not much there. I'm sure I've got more of this somewhere. It's a lovely vintage print with a nice stain on it. I've got more of this, again covered in stains. Another cute little applique sandwich tray cloth. I do not remember getting this one at all. It is linen. It has been done by hand. Probably some poor little person overseas has sat and done that. Oh my goodness, I'm going to knock the life out of this. That's the back of this piece. That's the back. So this is a beautiful, beautiful little doily. Bit of stain in here. Hopefully I can soak that out. But that would be just beautiful in a needle book. Look at that. So there's that one. There's one. This is interesting. It's got that, and I don't remember what that symbol means. It's a Chinese symbol. I've never actually seen a doily with the symbol like that in it. So that's a cool piece. Another one of these. Got quite a few of them, as I said. This is the back of it. This was a pillowcase that's been pulled apart. I was going to make a bag out of that, but I'll keep that for something else now. Here we go. This is some of the neon dyeing that I had done years ago. I did use a lot of this at the time, but I favoured colours. I was favouring the pinks more than anything in the work I was doing. So a piece of crocheted edging that I dyed. I was using that in my journals at the time. Another crocheted doily. Then I've got this, I don't know if this is Sanderson, but this was off an old chair that my father bought, and it had gotten wet with something, so all the colour ran. So he wanted to recover it, so instead of covering over it, he's taken this off, and I've asked him if I could have it because some of this fabric is just stunning. And some of the stained fabric I was using in my journals as well. And then underneath that there was a very thin layer of cotton. I don't know what it's called. It was almost like a muslin, but it's obviously a type of upholstery process, and it was very aged, and it was just beautiful to use in my journals and in my eco-dyed work. And I wish I had come across some more of it. It's just an amazing textile. This is a piece of vintage cotton that had a piece of lace. There was lace at the bottom of it, and I'd torn the lace off. It was all deteriorated, so I've kept this vintage cotton because, again, it's a beautiful textile. I've got this lovely little, again, look at the stains. Beautiful little square tablecloth. Look at this. Stitching's exquisite on this one. Have a look if you can at the detail on those leaves, even if it'll focus. It's absolutely stunning. And then that's the back of the work. Every individual piece has been separately stitched and ended off. That's how I've been taught to stitch. But I do get a bit lazy sometimes, so I've got that lovely piece is resurfaced. I'm just folding that up so it doesn't get... I've got more of these, more napkins, more napkins, more hankies, another piece of this pink crochet, more of these, piece of lace I'd previously dyed. This is wool that I've dyed previously for different projects. I thought this might be good for needle books now. I had undone the project I'd previously made because it's of no use now. Another linen. I've got quite a few. Another fingertip cloth with lots of staining. Another fingertip towel. Applique fingertip towel. Another embroidered little doily with tacky synthetic lace on it. A number fingertip towel with Lily of the Valley stitched on. Some more hankies with God knows what that is. Another fingertip towel. Actually, that one that was a pillowcase, that one. And then I've just got, there's more and more. Look, another linen. There's more and more and more little hand knitted, beautifully knitted doily with stains on it. More crocheted pieces. So yeah, these pieces have all turned up from my stash that I've had put away. Another one of these, I've got two of those, which have come from separate, very different places. This is an interesting tablecloth, very interesting edging. It's been pulled thread work all the way around. It's got dreadful stains on it, this one. I don't know if they'll come out. Terrible stains. More napkins, more of that. More of this stuff in there. This was a beautiful tablecloth. It was very torn, it was very stained. This is what's left of it. I have hand dyed and hand painted. See the stains on it? They would not come out. They were all over it. So this beautiful piece has already been cut up several times, and I've dyed it, I've eco-dyed it, I've neon dyed it. It has been used in a lot of my projects. So, and another hanky with a pretty little delicate edge on it. So that's that. There are some of the things that have shown up as I've been sorting this last week. So much stuff to still, oh crikey, so much stuff to still go through. I'm hoping that I can get a lot of these stains out of these items. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do, because if I can't, I won't be able to use them for what I was hoping I could use them for, which is, at this stage, needle books. So I'll just tuck all this stuff away out of the way so we can get to where I'm up to with the needle book. Goodness, that was a bit of a marathon, that. Okay, there we go. There's that French cotton hank that I've got a couple of. Now, I'm just going to move this box out of the way so I can show you. And of course, it's just become overcast as I've been talking, so it's a bit hard to see again. Oh, crikey. I'm a bit puffed out. I felt like that was a bit of a marathon then. Excuse me, I needed a drink. I'm so dry now. Now, what you've probably been waiting for. Progress on the needle book. So she's not finished. I need to remove all the pen marks. She hasn't been stitched together yet. I have tacked it, but it hasn't been stitched together. I had a bit of trouble. I tried to stitch it together a couple of times, and even though I had basted it and pinned it, as I was stitching the spine it kept moving. So I've got this piece of lace, vintage lace for the tie. I've tacked on some cotton. This is from a scrap pack I got from Beck from So Be, this fabric. I will stitch these on properly, obviously, but that colour is a good, it goes well with that vintage cutter quilt. So there's that flower that I mentioned earlier that I'd appliqued on. If you've seen previous videos, you would have already seen this. And then I've done the crochet edge, I've stitched that on. We open her up to the first page and we've got pockets here. There's a pocket here and a pocket here. This is a little tab from the way I folded this little sandwich tray cloth. I was going to put another leaf, another page there, but it was too bulky, so I've just stitched on a bit of crocheted lace onto there. Here we go with the sandwich tray cloth. I've lined the back of that with this vintage or retro cotton print and then made a pocket with this lace. I've got this check, cotton check, and I've hand stitched all this. It's a bit of Liberty. Stitched this vintage mother of pearl button on, and I've hand stitched a buttonhole. And I don't know what you could use this for, but I mean, you could use anything. You could tie your stranded cottons on it. You could put, you know, anything, any kinds of rings or tools. I can't even think. Anything with a loop that you could put through there, I suppose. Listen to that thunder coming. Turn the page and I've got a piece of felted wool blanket in here that we can put pins and needles in. This little tag is from Nairi that she sent me. It says handcrafted, and I've put that there because that was where I stitched the button on and it just looked out of place, so I thought if I just add a little tag there it looks a bit more purposeful. This poor page keeps scrunching up. This is a vintage hanky, and I've turned it around because I wanted the colour to match. I don't know what the heck I've done. It should have been the other way. And I don't want to undo it again because I've undone it that many. I know why I've done it, because this has got the yellow here and the green, so it sort of mirrors the green here and then the yellow here. That's why I've turned it around that way. Then we've got this woolen page for your pins and needles. We turn it over and I've stitched on this beautiful applique doily, and I've turned this into a pocket. Then I've got, this is a napkin that I've stitched onto the back of a doily. There's the doily. Then I've got this beautiful wool suiting. So this is pure wool, and the colours just went so well with it, so it had to go in. And that fixed the issue that I had where I felt it was bare in the centre of this doily here. And again, I've just stitched around that with one of my hand-painted, hand-dyed perlates that I did from that vintage French cotton. And I'll come back and tell you what I've done here in a minute. There's that page. We're back to the doily. And you can see I've hand stitched. I've done a blanket stitch all the way around that. And that was mainly to stitch this napkin onto the back. I've got to remove these pen marks. Another piece of that vintage wool blanketing for pins and needles. There's a little decorative pin in there. It's not little, it's a big one. It's almost like a hat pin actually. Here's that doily again, the other side, with the binding that I've done. Turned it into a pocket on that beautiful wool. Turn the page and I've stitched a little strawberry on there. That's a fabric I bought recently. That's a modern fabric, that one. Here's the vintage hanky again, and I've stitched a vintage, I believe this is probably a 1920s yo-yo Suffolk puff from Feed Sack, and I've done a neon pink stitch for that for a bit of contrast. Then I've stitched this lace onto it just for something a bit different, give it a bit more oomph. And then again, also I forgot to show there's pockets. I've made pockets in the hanky. I'm not sure yet. I think I will stitch something on here, the same as, I'm not sure whether to stitch something onto this check. I feel like I need something there, and I also feel like I need something on here. So I'll get to that. Then I've stitched this. This is all buttonhole stitch all the way around here on a piece of linen. And then I've done this, I've stitched it all onto this cotton check. I've got a vintage mother of pearl button up here that we can undo. I'm losing light again. And the scissors come out. So the scissors will be included in this when she goes up for sale. I've also stitched on these eyelets all the way down there before I realised I needed something to hold the tip of the scissors. So then I've stitched a linen pocket on, and it looked funny, so I've stitched this piece of vintage lace on top of that. So the scissors just sit nicely in there. It was designed to hold these scissors, so these scissors will be included. You can see I've done the blanket stitch all the way around there. Then I stitched this fillet lace, crocheted lace on the back. And again, this flower is here because that was the bottom of that scissor pocket there. So it needed something there. And then it looks dicky on its own, so I added that on top, and again that creates another pocket. We've got another pocket here on the back of that sandwich tray cloth, and this has been, someone has previously repaired this, which I really liked, so I kept that there. I didn't put lace on this tab because I didn't want it to overtake the little sandwich tray cloth I'd made the pocket out of. But I did stitch a little handmade tab. There's a little rainbow in there on the other side. And then this is another vintage sandwich tray cloth that I've turned into a little pocket. I've stitched a vintage mother of pearl button on it. I've lined it with this retro cotton fabric. I managed to match, this blue thread was already on the tray cloth. I managed to match that nearly exactly to do this blanket stitch, which holds the lining on this side. And then, because this sandwich tray cloth is so old and so used, it was that worn, the thread in the center of these two had worn out, and so had the center of this one. So I replaced those threads, that stitching. And then the more I was just using it here, this edge started to fray, so I've done a reverse knotted blanket stitch just around there to hold that all in. So there's a little pocket pouch there, but I've also done it so you can stick some stuff in behind there as well. And I've done a needle woven buttonhole bar there to go around the button. It's all been done by hand. I haven't sewn any of this on a machine. I've done it all by hand, except for what was already done. And then this is the back page, and I've got that wrap. So what I found, as I mentioned, every time I tried to stitch it together, stitch the spine, it would shift, it would warp, it would twist, it would shift. I tried it 3 times and then I gave up. So what I ended up doing was I started with this piece. So you can see here, if you can see, if it's actually showing up on the monitor, there's quite a few layers of stitch in here. And that's because I have tacked this piece to this piece first to make sure it was all lined up. Then I tacked those 2 pieces to this piece, then this piece to this piece, and I just had to keep tacking each individual piece one at a time to get it to all line up and stop skewing on me as I went. So now that that's all tacked in place, I need to come back with my final holding stitch and actually stitch that all together. Then I've got to stitch these tabs onto here. I've got to remove all the pen marks. I still don't know, it's one of those tacking stitches. I feel like these are finished. I feel like I might add something here, whether it's another, I'm not sure what yet. I didn't want to just go overboard with the puffs, but I don't mind that one on the back of that. I already had it out because I didn't mind it. I'm also mindful I don't have many puffs. I need to go in and see Beck and buy some more from her. I feel like I need to stitch something on here, whether it's just a little piece of fabric or a piece of lace, or I don't know yet. It just, to me, just looks a bit bare. Now, of course, this is wool, so this is for you to put your pins and needles in, and I don't want to cover all of those spaces, so there's nowhere to put them. But I just feel like something, you know. Obviously this side, because we've got the pocket, there's not as much space for your pins and needles, but there's still quite a bit of room there. These are pretty well decorative. Again, this wool here, I'm not sure, because it's checked, there's quite a bit of character there already, so I'm not sure I actually need to add anything. I feel like I want to, but I don't think I need to. And again, this feels bare to me, this center page, but I think in reality it's perfect to put stick a lot of pins and needles in. You know, you could potentially do 2 rows in here. Whether you want to use one side or both, it doesn't really matter. There's quite a bit of room there. I think this is finished. I think I'm happy with that. I do feel like this is a little bit bare, but again, I don't want to go overboard either. we've got this again, and on this side I've just done that little strawberry, and I'm happy with that. We don't need much there. I'm happy with how that looks. There's still plenty of room for the pins and needles to go, and safety pins and whatnot. I'm pretty happy with that, I think. I feel like I might want to put something on there. So whether I put another puff there or a piece of lace, I'm not sure. I did get these out to have a look. They might be too modern. I think these are probably from the 80s, maybe the 70s, but I'm not sure one of these will work. But I did think, could I put one of these, where's the end? One of these in there. Maybe, because it's sort of the same time period for this check here. Don't know. I did think maybe that could go in there. Goodness, it's getting dark. Those black clouds have come over and it's very hard to see now. I'm happy with that. I think that's finished. I was concerned with where I had stitched this on. You could see on the other side, which is why I've put this on. That does extend down here, but I think I've managed to do it finely enough that it doesn't stand out too badly. It blends quite well. I don't think I need anything else happening here. We've got pockets. I don't think I need anything else here. So it's just finishing off, stitching it all together, removing the ink marks, stitching these tabs on, and then just adding a couple of little details on the inside. And she's pretty well done. So I think next time I come back to show you, she should be finished. And I think for now, that's all I can show you. And it might be time for me to say goodbye, because there's a very big thunderstorm coming. It's very, very dark now. Hasn't started raining yet. We've been getting rain every afternoon lately, this is how it used to be when I was a kid. In summer we'd get 5 o'clock, it'd rain. Hasn't done this for years, but anyway, I have brought other stuff out to show you. I think I'm going to wind up because you guys, here's the rain. I spoke too soon. It must be very difficult for you guys to see now. Thank you so much once again for joining me. I hope I haven't bored you too much this time. The showing you that linen in the beginning went a lot longer than I expected it to. What else? I think I'll just wind it up, guys. I am outside, so I don't like being out in storms. Thank you again for joining me. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I hope you may have learned something, or I've inspired you to have a go yourself. It's okay, Bunny, it's just the thunder. It's okay, sweet. It's okay. It's okay, darling. I hope I've inspired you to have a go yourself if you haven't already. As always, if you have any questions about anything I've shown you or talked about, please drop it in the comments below and I'll try and answer it in my next video if possible. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. That would be incredibly helpful. And until next time, I'll see you then. Thanks again for joining me. Hooray!